Oh, good afternoon. I'm Ken Ham, President of Answers in Genesis, the Creation Museum and the Ark Encounter, and we're at the Ark Encounter construction site where we're building a life-size replica of Noah's Ark. It'll be the largest timber frame structure in the world. It's a true timber frame structure using the heavy timbers, mortise and tenon joints. And I thought today I'd do something a little different. Live updates I've actually done from here before. We've been walking through the Ark. Today we're going to walk around it, just give you an idea of the size of this. We're here on a day in which it's 17 degrees Fahrenheit, but with the wind blowing across this ridge here, the wind chill is probably in the single digits, so it is a little chilly out here today. But I'm at the bow end of the Ark, and you can see they have the piers here, a couple of more short ones that they're about to pour, and they'll be putting the bow up next month, beginning of March. Right now they're working on the stern end. Most of the body of the Ark is done. Keep in mind that this entire structure from the end of the bow down here right down to the other end of the stern is about 1.5 times the length of a football field. So we're going to walk down. I'm going to walk you around it as quickly as I can here, just so you get an idea of the size of it. And this is the bow end, as I said. As I come over here, sort of get an idea of the size of this Ark. I'll walk in here for a moment. Just to one of these piers. These piers go down near the ground and they sit on solid limestone. And I'll just stand here so you can get an idea of the size here. And then as I come out, and then you get an idea of the rest of the Ark here. Just a massive structure. Most people don't realize how big Noah's Ark was. Of course, in history, there were ancient ships that were even bigger than the Ark made of wood. But this is quite an enormous structure, and we'll be answering questions inside in the 132 exhibit bays. For instance, how Noah could fit the animals on board. A lot of people mistakenly think that he had to take all the species on board. It was only land animals, and it was 2 of each sort or 2 of each kind, 7 of some. And we would say in our modern classification system, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, that the kind is probably more, in most instances, at the family level of classification, because different species within a family has nothing to do with evolution. It's just variability because of the genetic information. Let's come along here. You see they're putting the siding on the side of the Ark here, even starting to do the curve. But actually the siding, that wood comes from New Zealand. It's a radiator pine, and it is sent to the Netherlands, where it's actually put through a special process, and then they ship it over here to North Carolina where it's milled, and then they're able to put it up here on the outside of the Ark. There is a little bit of work going on today inside. They're spraying some insulation inside, but we'll just walk past here. As we keep walking past the Ark, you get the idea. This is a massive structure. Again, you can see how high it is from ground level here. Actually, to the roof of the Ark is about 51 feet, and this is built 15 feet above the ground. And so you're talking about 70 feet, even up to higher than that for part of the bow, from the ground level right up to the top of the Ark. This section we're walking through here, where you can see underneath, if you come over here for a moment, this is where the queue lines will be, and there's actually going to be exhibits in here in the queue lines. The section we just walked past before, where you saw the purple color, where it was sealed off, that's where the gift store will be. And under here they're now building the keels. There's 3 keels, one here, one in the middle, and one on the other side there, and then they'll be putting wood under here. So as you walk under here, under the queue lines, you will have the sense that you're walking under a ship, a great ship, because that's what it is. There's still a lot of work to do, but it's all on schedule. Opening July 7, and if you go to arkencounter.com, you can find out there about getting tickets, because for the first 40 days and 40 nights we're going to have daytime entry and evening time entry, and that'll be a wonderful opportunity for people. And you can reserve your place in history by going online to obtain your tickets even now. It'll be open July 7, and that'll be the first day it's open to the public. And we decided on July 7 because Genesis 7:7 tells us in Scripture that's when Noah and his family entered the Ark, and so the public will enter the Ark for the first time July 7. It's going to be one of the greatest tourist attractions around, in America even. Be one of the greatest Christian outreaches in the world. We're here now at the stern end, and they're building the stern right now. You can see where they're starting to even get a little bit of the curved structure here. You start to get the sense now, this will be the first time you'll start to get a sense of this being a ship instead of just this long big structure here, because you can see the glue lam here, the laminated beam, they're starting to curve out and will curve up here, and they'll get this stern done very, very quickly. As we go around here, this is one of the piers that you see here that'll have supports going up this way. The ship is built as if it's built off the ground, and we believe that when Noah would have constructed the ark, it probably would have been off the ground because the global flood was coming. But as I said, it's designed as a ship but built as a building, and obviously because we're building it as a building for tourists to come through, we have to make sure that we obey all the codes, all the regulations. So we have to do a lot of things, of course, that Noah didn't have to do, and we don't want to take a long time to build it. So obviously we're using the machinery and tools we have today. Of course, we don't even know what sort of tools Noah would have. I often have people say to me, well, Noah wouldn't have used cranes, or Noah wouldn't have had those tools. But how do we really know that? How do we know what tools he did or did not have? He probably had a very high technology, because even as you go back towards Adam and Eve, you find out there in Scripture, in Genesis, that their descendants were building musical instruments, they were workers of bronze and iron. So by the time of Noah, I mean, you're talking quite a number of hundreds and hundreds of years later, they probably developed quite a technology. If you look over here, you can see some of the poles going up here, and they're for the zip lines. There's going to be an incredible zip line course. You mightn't be able to see them in the background. There's a lot more poles across the way there, across that valley. And in the background here, you may be able to get a glimpse looking there, but that's where the parking area is. 4,000 spaces for cars, and then there's a mile shuttle road. There'll be buses that will take people from the parking area down, across a bridge, across a creek. It's a beautiful valley, take you out of the modern world and bring you up into Noah's world. So as we go behind here, you'll see how this is built. It's quite an ingenious structure, because obviously if you're going to have this built for tourists to come in, for people to come in, and the research indicates up to possibly 2 million people or so a year. It's certainly going to be an incredible draw for people all over the world. But it's designed then to have the restrooms and elevators and the exit stairs outside of the Ark. So we want to keep as much of the interior of the Ark to be the ship that we want it to be. And so there's 3 towers, and these towers, they're basically about 8 stories high, 7 to 8 stories high. In fact, if you put all 3 towers together, it'd be sort of the equivalent of a 7 to 8 story high Hampton Inn. That's the size of those towers. They're quite enormous. This one here that we're walking past, this tower here houses an elevator and exit stairs, and it's a small tower compared to the middle one. The middle one is the largest tower, and the middle one has 2 lots of exit stairs and has restrooms for each of the 3 decks, and then one for the roof deck where there'll be eventually a restaurant. As we walk past this area, you see here that they're pouring some piers. There's going to be a ramp here, be a series of ramps actually, and this area up here that I'm pointing to and that you're looking at now, that'll be the door where they enter. So you queue up under the Ark and you come on these ramps up here. They're getting ready to put the trusses in for the roof here. This will be a sheltered area as well, and then you go into the Ark on deck 1. And then when you come out of the Ark, you actually come down the ramp and you'll come down underneath the Ark at the end that I'm walking to right now, but underneath the Ark, because that's where the gift store will be, so people come down into that. And you can see here, this tower here is the biggest tower. Again, two exit stairs, restrooms, no elevators in this tower. The elevators are in the end tower. You can see here that they actually built these masonry block about every 4 feet. They then put rebar down, and then they fill up with concrete, and then on the outside here they seal it, and then they're putting insulation on, and then they put stucco on the outside of that. If you look over here to my right, you can actually see some buildings. See those wooden buildings there in the background? They're starting to build our petting zoo there. It'll be about 10 times the size of the area of the petting zoo at the Creation Museum. And that's going to be a phenomenal place. We actually have an expert animal specialist who's coming to look after the animals as well. I mean, we have animal specialists anyway looking after our live animals at the petting zoo, but this is someone who can actually talk about animals and do special programs with the animals as well. So as we come down now towards the west end here, there's another tower that you can see here, and this houses an elevator and also exit stairs. We're permitted to exit about 10,000 people at one time. Now, we're not going to have 10,000 people in the Ark at one time, but that's what we're permitted to exit. So they're quite enormous exit stairs. If you look at this area here, you can see it's been graded. That's where we're going to put, it's an 800 to 900 seat theatre. We're going to have special programs in that theatre, video program and animal programs. And if you look at the back, you can see one of the big barns that they're building as well. You can see some of the upright studs there for the barn for the petting zoo. So as we come down the west tower, we'll come down again towards the bow end. Tremendous amount of construction that's going on here. And of course, inside, if you go back and look at some of the other live video updates that I've done, you'll be able to see the massive wooden structure inside with the big lodge poles and so on. It's just amazing to see the woodwork. But down this end, see, this is the bow end here, and that'll start construction, as I said, in March, and that'll really then be quite spectacular because there's a big section that goes on this end. This we call the sail. Some of the ancient ships had these structures that would then point them into the wind to help stabilize them, and we said, why wouldn't Noah actually be able to do something like that? He would have been a very intelligent person, probably had all sorts of knowledge in regard to these sorts of things, knowledge that had been accumulated over the many years. So the bow will come down to about where you see this yellow chain here. It comes out to here, and we can look back there and see the structure of the Ark there. Thought I'd just take you over here real quickly, just at the bow end, because at the bow end here, well, we are building a 2,100 seat restaurant. And so we'll just go quickly over here so you can see that. It's quite a large restaurant, 2,100 seats, and it's going to have a lot of big wooden poles as well. It's going to be quite spectacular, a very unique sort of restaurant. But you can see over here where they're doing the basement right now for that, and that is going to go up very, very quickly. If we come back this way, I might have time to just run up the stairs and we'll just have a quick look inside, just to show you in there. But every time I come down here, I'm just amazed at how much work they've done, how quickly it goes up, how massive this structure is. So we'll walk around here. Lots of construction trailers, of course, here, all the contractors that are here. And I'm looking over the back there and see a lot of wood that just came in recently, ready for the stern. And we see they're doing here on the ground, they actually put together sections that they put up on the outside of the Ark and then put the siding on those sections. We'll just walk up here quickly, up these stairs. These stairs obviously for the construction workers to be able to go up. And as we come up here, again, gives you an idea of how high this is. As we come up here, we can come to the end here and you'll get a view to see where they're building the petting zoo. And it goes from behind this tower here, West Tower, then all the way, and you see some of those other buildings all the way to the end there. That's going to be quite a phenomenal petting zoo. And then as we come up here, we can get to the front of the Ark here. Actually, they're working inside, so we can't go inside today. I thought we were going to be able to, but we can't right now. But here, I'll stand at one of these poles here, just to give you an idea here of the size of the Ark here. Well, as I said, if you want to see the inside of the Ark, go to some of the other updates that I've done. I did one just recently where I walked you through inside, and it'll give you a look at how spectacular the woodwork is in there. So I hope you enjoyed this little update here as we walked around the Ark. I haven't done that for you before, but I thought you would enjoy that. And so go to arkencounter.com, and that's where you'll be able to find out more information about the project. Opening July 7, and tickets are now available if you want to reserve tickets, and particularly for the first 40 days and 40 nights when we have daytime entry and nighttime entry, when it's going to be very busy because we're opening midsummer, and so that whole time is going to be very busy. So plan your vacation. And the other thing I like to say to people is consider making Northern Kentucky your vacation destination. There's not only the Ark, then the Creation Museum. I would suggest you spend at least a day at the Ark, at least one day at the Creation Museum. And then there's lots of other great places in the area. Not that far from here is the biggest Air Force Museum in the world, the Dayton Air Force Museum. Absolutely spectacular, one of my favorite places. Also the Newport Aquarium down on the river there at Cincinnati, which is only about, say, 45 minutes from here. The Kentucky Horse Park, which is about half an hour from here towards Lexington. The Cincinnati Zoo. We have Cincinnati Reds, of course, the Reds baseball stadium, and then Kings Island, where people love to go and have their roller coaster rides. And there's lots of other great things to do in this area. So you could actually make Northern Kentucky your destination vacation. So I encourage you to go to arkencounter.com, and I'll see you again for another update in the near future.